ala rasulihil kareem, amma ba'd. So we are continuing with our Arabic grammar lessons. We left off on the Mabni words. We've gone over several of them. Mabni words were those words that had vowels which did not change with the changing of a word governance. And so today we are going to continue with these words, and what we are on now are al-kinayat, so metonymic words. So what does this mean? So you could say metonymic words are words which refer to a specific thing without actually using that word. Classical definition are words used to indicate an ambiguous number or speech or event. And then you have a few words which are used for them. For example, kam and kada. And kam and kada are used for ambiguous numbers. And you have words like kaita and dhaita, which are used to indicate upon events and speech which are ambiguous. So the word kam is of two types. So they are istifhamiya, which we've come across already. It means interrogative. So in this case, the word after it will be its tamyiz. So the word that comes after kam in general will be called a tamyiz. And in this type of kam, you're asking a question. So kam kitaban indak, you're saying how many books are with you. In this example, kam is the noun, a mabni noun, and rajulan is the tamyiz. And remember, so when kam is used for istifham, then the word after it will be mufrad and mansub, as we've noted from the example, kam rajulan indak, which just means, as we've said, how many books are with you. Then you have kam, which is used as khabari. So this is informative. So the word after, so it's not asking a question now, and you're rather making a statement. So the word after it will be singular still, so it will still be mufrad and majroor, and it can also be plural and majroor. So as for example, you could say kam malin anfaqtuhu, how much money I have spent. So you're just emphasizing that you've spent a lot of money. Or you could say kam rijalin laqaytuhu, so how how many men have I met or have you met, depending on the pronoun that's used. And as I've said, it's used to express takfir. Takfir is just a term which means abundance. So if we look at the example, kam malin anfaqtuhu, kam is the ism mabni, malin is its tamyiz, but because it's used as khabariya, it will be mufrad and it will be majroor. Likewise, kam rijalin, when you want to indicate upon something which is plural, you will actually use the plural word. And sometimes the particle min comes after both the types of kam. So kam istifhamiya and kam khabariya, sometimes you'll see after them the particle min. And because the particle min occurs after them, it would make the word that the tamyiz, it would make it majroor, because min is a harf jar, which causes the word after it to be in the genitive case. For example, kam min rajulin laqaytahu. So you could use this as an istifhamiya example. How many men have you met? Or kam min malin anfaqtahu. You have spent much wealth. Or how much wealth have you spent? As in, if you want to be more literal in terms of translation, it has a rhetorical effect to emphasize the abundance of wealth that you have spent. Sometimes the tamyiz can be omitted when it is clear from the context that what it is referring to. For example, if I said kammaluka, in this case, we'll notice that the word, and I'm trying to ask a question here. How much wealth do you possess? How much wealth do you have? How much kammaluk? How much is your wealth? And the tamyiz, the clarifying term, how much, what am I referring to? What kind of wealth am I referring to? In this context, back in the days, it would be talking about dinar or dirham, and from this context it could be dinaran. So kam dinaran maluk. And as we've said, that if I'm asking a question using kam, then the word after it will be mufrad and it will be mansub, it will be halat al-nasab, and the word dinar is mufrad munsarif sahih, and because of that it will be represented by a fatha in the halat al-nasab case. So we would say kam dinaran maluk. Or another example, kam darabta, which means how much have you striked or hit. Kam darbatan darabta, it means how much times have you hit. Then imagine you're trying to determine the grammatical position or the tarkib of kam in a sentence. So both types of kam, regardless if it's khabari or istifhamiya, if there's a verb after it and it's not fully occupied by its pronoun, meaning it's not fully occupied in terms of a maf'ul, then it will be mansub. So the ism of kam will be, so it's just saying that the verb after it, if it's not fully occupied by a maf'ul, so this maf'ul could be a maf'ul bihi, it could be a maf'ul mutlaq, which is a masdar, or it could be a maf'ul fihi or a zarf, then we'll consider the kam to be mansub as well in terms of grammatical structure. So there's nothing on the word kam to indicate its state, but if you are doing tarkib and you want to determine what its position is in the sentence, you could say it's mansub in these circumstances. If before kam is a harf jar or a mudaf word, and then it will be majroor. For example, become rajulan mararta. So ba harf jar comes before kam, so that makes kam majroor. وعلى كم رجل حكمت or وغلام كم رجلا ضربت. Like how many servants of men have you struck? Or غلام كم رجل احترمت. You could say the servants of how many men have I honored. And if neither of the above scenarios occur, then it will be marfu' and you'll consider the kam to be a mubtada. So if the word coming after kam is not about dharf, a time or place, then it will be mubtada. And if it is about time and place, then it will be khabar. So for example, kam rajulan akhuka. So in this example, kam will be regarded as mubtada because the word after it, rajulan, is not a dharf, it's not about time and place. And in the example, kam yawman safaruka, like how many days is your travel? In this example, kam will be considered as khabar because the word after it, yawman, is a word which denotes time and place. And then why is it marfu? Why can it not be mansub in this case? Because the kam in the example, for example, kam rajulin darabtahu, it can't be a mansub because the verb after it is acting upon the pronoun and it's fully occupied. It cannot take a second maf'ul. And then after that, and that's the end of the kinayat. Then we have indeclinable adverbs, al-dhuruf al-mabniya, and this is the 8th type of mabni words, so the last type, but there's actually quite a lot of these words. They're just a load of words which are about time and place. So a zarf word is and then not every word which is about time and place is mabni. Like we've seen the word yawm, which means day, that's not mabni. It's or the word shahr, like month, it's not mabni. But when a zarf word is mudaf and is mudaf ilay is omitted, like qablu, ba'du, fawqu, tahdu, and these 4 words are known as the limits, ghayat, they will be mabni ala dhamma. And this is only when the speaker intended for the mudaf ilay to be omitted. So for example, there's in the Quran verse lillahi al-amru min qablu wa min ba'du. So here min comes before qabl, but we read it qablu and not qabli, and likewise we read min ba'du and not min ba'di. And this is because qabl and ba'd are from amongst the ghayat, the words which denote limits, and they are intended to be a mudaf, and the mudaf ilay was min kulli shay, or just kulli shay min qabli. You could say it was actually min qabli kulli shay, and that means before all things. And kulli shay was omitted, so you'll recite it qablu. And likewise, min ba'di, it was originally min ba'di kulli shay. Kulli shay was omitted, so you'd read it min ba'du. So, but this is only when the author or the speaker intended for idafa. If it wasn't, then if the author had no intention for to be a mudaf ilayh structure where the mudaf ilayh was omitted, then it would simply be read min qablin or min ba'din. You also have the word haythu, which means where or whenever. Or just to go back, qabl means before, ba'du means after, fawqa means above, and taht means below. Those are the ghayat, limit words. And we have another word which is similar to, which resembles these ghayat words, limit words, but it doesn't have the same meaning. It doesn't create a limit. Haythu, which means where or whenever, but because it looks similar, so because it requires a idafa often, because of this haythu, and is also a mabni word. And haythu is usually mudaf to a sentence. For example, sanastadrijuhum min haythu la ya'lamun. It's a Quran verse. We draw them near to from where they know not. Sanastadrijuhum. So we draw near them min haythu la ya'lamun, from where they know not. It can sometimes be mudaf to a mufrad word as well, but the point is that it's mabni al-dhamm in most cases, so it will be mabni on dhamma. And in some cases you will find it to be jar, but it's not often. So in essence, haythu just is in the meaning of makan, which means place, so where or whenever. And you have also you have this noun idha, which means when, and it's for future tense. So when it comes before a madi, a past tense verb, it will still create the future tense meaning. It often creates a conditional meaning. For example, so a normal, so without a conditional, إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ, when the help of Allah comes, from the Quran. But when it comes as a conditional, to create a conditional meaning, so for example, آتِيكَ إِذَا الشَّمْسُ طَالِعَةٌ, so I'll come to you when the sun rises. And you have, and then it's more commonly used with verbs. So آتِيكَ إِذَا طَلَعَتِ الشَّمْسُ, so طَلَعَ is past tense, but because إِذَا comes before it, it would create a future tense meaning. So آتِيكَ إِذَا طَلَعَتِ الشَّمْسُ means I will come to you when the sun rises. It more or less has the same meaning as the nounal example, but this one is a verbal example. Sometimes it's used to express suddenness, and then in these scenarios a mubtada is preferable to occur after it. For example, خرجت فإذا السبع واقف. So I went out and suddenly there was a dangerous animal standing there, or something wild standing there. So in this example, السبع will be mubtada. Then you have idh, which is basically the same as idha, but the difference is idh is used for past tense meaning, and after it two sentences, وَابْتَقَعُوا بَعْدَهَا الْجُمْلَتَانِ. So you can come upon two different types of sentences, i.e. jumla ismiya and jumla fi'liya, and it creates the past tense meaning. It's mabni ala sukun, so idh, you do waqf on it, idh. The zal has a sakin on it, it's unvoweled. Whereas idha, which had a fatha and alif. And this just creates a past tense meaning. For example, جئتك إذ طلعت الشمس, so I came to you when the sun rose. We then have words like aina and anna, which are used for questioning and place. They used to ask where. So aina tamshi, where are you walking? Anna taqum, aqum, so they could create conditional meanings as well. So wherever you stand, I will stand. You also have mata, which is used for time. So it can be used for conditional sentences or istifham. So mata tasum, asum, when you fast, I will fast. Or mata tusafiru, where are you going? Oh, sorry, when are you going? Then you also have kaifa, which is for istifham, asking a question. Istifham halan. Istifham halan is used for interrogating the condition or state of something. For example, kaifa anta, which is just asking, how are you? أي في أي حال أنت, which condition are you in? No, what kind of condition are you in? Then you also have the word ayyana, which is for time. So ayyana yawmuddin, which is a question, when is the day of recompense? Then you have the words mudh and mundhu. So they basically mean since. It's used to show the beginning of a time period. It's normally in response to a word like mata. So when. So mata ra'aytu zaydan. So the example, is ما رأيت زيدا مذ يوم الجمعة. So that's just in response to a question, when did you no longer see Zayd? So you say ما رأيته مذ أو منذ يوم الجمعة, which just means I've not seen him since the day of Jumu'ah. And it can also be used to refer to the entire duration of a period. And this is when they're used in response to to a question from kam. For example, ما رأيته منذ يومين. Like, so when was the last time you saw him? Or how long have you not seen him for? And you can say, I have not seen him for 2 days. ما رأيته منذ يومين or منذ يومين. So like here, the example, كم مدة ما رأيت زيدا, how much time have you not seen Zayd for? أي جميع مدة ما رأيته فيها يوماني. So the entire time that you have not seen him for is 2 days. Then you have the words lada and ladun, which just mean inda, which means with or in front of. So you could say al malu ladayk, the wealth is with you. The difference with inda, so between inda and lada and ladun, is that inda is used to refer to a place which doesn't need to signify hudur, presence, whereas lada and ladun require the presence of it. So in other words, when you use inda, it's not necessary that the object is present by you. However, if you use lada and ladun, then the thing which you're referring to, the word you're referring to, must be present with you at the time of speaking. Then you have the word qattu, which just means never. It's used with madi manfi, so negated past tense words. For example, it just means I have never. So ma ra'aytuhu qattu, I have never seen him. Similarly, you have awdu, which is for negated future meaning. So mustaqbil manfi. So before qattu meant I have never, and awdu will be I will never. So la adribuhu awdu, I will never hit him. Just a final little note, when dhuruf are mudaf to a sentence, then they can be mabni al-fath. This rule is also applicable on the words like mithlu and ghayr, when they are followed by ma and anna. So example of this is when it's mabni al-fath for a dharf word. For example, هذا يوم ينفع الصادقين صدقهم. So yawm is a dharf word, which means day. It's about place, it's about time, and it's mudaf to a sentence. ينفع الصادقين صدقهم, the truthful people, their truth or their honesty will benefit them. So yawma is here mabni al-fath if you take this interpretation. And also like yawma idhin and hina idhin, yawma is mudaf to idhin and hina is mudaf to idhin. So an example of mithl is ضربته مثل ما ضرب زيد. So I'll hit him the same way that Zayd hit. Or غير أن ضرب زيد. So ضربته غير أن ضرب زيد. So you see here أن is there because of the غير is mansub, not mansub, but it's mabni al-fath. And that's it for the dhuruf al-mabniyah. Some people do use the word amsi, which according to Ahl al-Hijaz, they say it's mabni al-kasr. which means yesterday. But if you have any questions, please ask in the comment section and leave feedback. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.